Today, we're going to focus on the one thing that helped me change my flower business into a flower brand. And honestly, it's the thing that helped me stop feeling burnt out and really enjoy what we're doing day in, day out. I'm really going to go into some key things that have really helped me out across my career so far, and thus helped me out in my career here leading a flower brand. And if any part of my journey so far resonates with you, then I'm really confident this video will be useful for you. And make sure you stick around to the end of the video, because what I'm going to do is share exactly how to implement the idea that I'm speaking about here. Let's begin. If we go back to the beginning of my career, so when I finished my studies at the age of 18, I found myself feeling very, very ambitious. I wanted to achieve a lot in my future life. I knew that much. I wanted to earn a lot of money and perhaps make a name for myself in business as well. Both my mum and dad were in flowers at the time, so I'd grown up around flowers my whole life. But I thought, actually, my dreams are bigger. I saw myself in an office running a big law firm or something like that. So I went and got myself a job as a sales rep in the city. And the company I was working for was a great company that actually ended up getting bought out by a PLC in my journey there. So that came with great benefits for me in terms of promotions and training and development. When I started my job there at 18, I was a sales rep. I quite quickly was consistently hitting targets, breaking sales records, and that helped me get promoted through to being a team leader and then the youngest sales manager in the company's history. And then once the company got bought out, I worked hard and I was promoted to be the sales and operations director. So I was a member of the senior leadership team. And there's really two training and development experiences across my journey with that company. It was called Fitz-Allen Partners when I joined, and in the end the brand was called Homeward Legal, owned by National Accident Helpline PLC. The two training experiences for me, the first one I was sponsored to go on, so two people out of the group of 3,000 employees that work for this company, I was one of two chosen to be sponsored to go on a future leaders program by a really great organization called Vistage. That really helped me begin thinking about leadership, thinking about business more, and really how to communicate and deal with people in the world. That was the start of my career, I would say. Then, when I was made sales and operations director, I was put into a leadership school, which was based off of a DDI model. I will explain more later in the video about DDI themselves, and one of the most helpful things I learned within that leadership school as well. So going through those two training and development programs really made me who I am today. It shaped the way I deal and interact with other people and the way I run my business today. So I was with that job from the age of 16 until 24, actually just turning 25, so it was a little over 6 years. And across my time of that 6 years, as I say, it made me who I am and it really developed me as a person. However, some things became apparent when I then joined forces with my dad and ended up managing the flower business here at Petals at Bibendum. For the previous 6 years, I'd been working with a team, sometimes up to 25 people in total below me, but they were all very similar people to me. Generally males, there were some females, but it was generally male populated, of a similar age, kind of early to mid-20s, all really money hungry, working on commission and working on a sales floor. So managing that kind of person compared to managing a florist is very, very different, requires different skills, and it requires a different approach actually. So since joining forces with my dad here at Petals at Bibendum, that's nearly 5 years ago now, I've gone through a massive journey again, taking all of the learning, all of the skills I've developed over the prior 6 years and adapting them so that they worked in a flower business, and specifically with florists who are generally much more creatively minded, not so blindly money hungry. And that leads me to really the key idea of this video here and the one thing that I was talking about. So the core idea of this video And the one thing that helped me change my flower business into a flower brand is understanding and working towards my own strengths. That then translates over time to everybody in the business and me building and leading a structure in the business where everybody does work towards their strengths. For example, I'd come from a career of starting as a sales rep, learning about management and leadership. That doesn't mean that I'm going to come into a flower business and instantly be able to make a great bouquet and work with flowers very well. That's not the skill I had been developing. And so that doesn't mean that I have a strength in working with flowers just because I've come into a flower business. That's one of the examples. Another example is if you're a creative florist and you've spent your whole career learning how to work with flowers, how to design and create beautiful arrangements, that doesn't mean you're instantly going to have strengths in doing the admin side, the finance side, the marketing side of business just because you want to open up a flower shop. And as I said, make sure you stick around to the end of the video because I'll go into how to implement this in a business all the way from when you're a one-man band up to having a big team. But understanding this core idea that you must work towards your strengths will really, really help out. So let's dig deeper into this idea. I'm going to share some key things that have helped me across my career so far that relate back to this idea. First of all, let's touch on the structure I have in Petals at Bibendum at the moment. All of the hats people wear, as I would call it, all of the roles that my team are in. So we have a team of freelance florists. They're florists who work for us on a freelance basis. They fill shifts when we have availability, but they are all a key, vital part of the team. In fact, I would say they're the most important part of the team because they make our business what it is today by conditioning, caring for, designing and arranging all of our arrangements and displays that you all see. So that's the first hat, is the creative florist hat. So after we have our creative florist hat, you need somebody that's able to lead all of those florists, who's able to schedule the different rotas, who's able to communicate the expectations and hold them accountable as well. So we have Kim in that role. Kim is our team leader and she leads the creative florist, but is also a very talented florist herself. So Kim wears a creative florist hat, but also the team leader hat as well. We then have Suki. Suki manages our Instagram. She creates all the content for our Instagram. She manages all of the engagement with our community. So Suki wears the digital marketing hat, and Suki wears that hat incredibly well. I'm incredibly grateful that we've got Suki on board and that I and Suki understand what Suki's strengths are and she works towards them. Suki has helped us grow from 3.5 up to 143,000 Instagram followers, and that has tremendously helped our business. So the first two hats we've spoken about is the creative florist hat and then the digital marketing hat. Next up, we have Rojesh. Rojesh works in a website builder role that actually has developed now more into a role which encompasses marketing and e-commerce development. So there's two hats that Rojesh wears there. One is marketing and one is back-end website development. Two really, really useful hats. But the reason Rojesh can wear both is because they go hand in hand. When Rojesh is developing the e-commerce side of the business, he's thinking about how can he market to our audience and make sure that our audience are interacting with his e-commerce development well. These so far are all four hats that I personally don't have massive strengths in, but I understand well enough to help lead the individuals within those roles and ensure they can work to their strengths as best as possible. That then leads me on to me, my hat. I'm the managing director. I would call my hat the strategist hat. So I think about who works in what roles do we need within the company, and what processes are going to help the individuals within each role work to their best capacity. That leads me on to Jonathan as well. Jonathan, my dad, my business partner, he still plays a very active part in the business. The hat that Jonathan wears is the finance hat. Jonathan keeps track of all invoices, making sure that we're paying our invoices on time and making sure that our cash flow is sufficient to keep the brand running as well. So to summarize the hats that we've got there again, and thinking about how strengths relate to these hats as well. We've got creative florist, team leader, digital marketing, e-commerce, strategist, and finance. So there's many different roles and hats there that people are currently wearing at Petals at Bibendum. And it's really, really helped us that each person in that role works to their strengths very, very well. Now, I want to mention and touch on at this point, when you're just starting out, opening up your first flower shop or creating your brand initially, you're usually a one-man band working on your own. So understanding that you are not strong in every area will help you at that stage. So now let's finally touch on how to implement the idea of working towards your strengths within a business. Where I want to start with this is making sure that you understand, no matter what level of your journey you're at, whether you have no team or you have a large team, it's all the same starting point. And that starting point is to understand your own strengths. There's a number of things that I can recommend you do here to help with that. The first thing, and it seems obvious, is just to think about what do you feel good at doing, and you can attach to that what do you enjoy doing as well. Once you've had a think about what you feel good at and what you enjoy, you can then ask others for feedback, ask people around you, ask your partner, ask your team members if you have any. If you've worked in a business before, ask people you've worked with. What do they feel you're good at? What do they feel your strengths are? The final thing is I have taken a StrengthsFinder assessment at various points across my career, which I really, really believe in. There's various different people out there that provide psychometric StrengthsFinder assessments. It leads the organization to providing a report which is personalized for you and helps you understand what your strengths and weaknesses are. So those three things is where I'd recommend starting to really help you understand what your own strengths are. And then if you're just starting out, you don't have any team members around you and you don't have any budget or any capacity to get any team members around you to help, I would recommend looking for apps that can help you in your weaknesses. So if you're not that great at marketing, you're not that great at finance, but you love arranging flowers, look for apps that will help you deal with the processes you need to do. You can also set up systems. So there's things like your reminders on your phone, post-it notes that you can stick around your house to remind you to do things at specific times. That's just one example of a system you can put in place. Now, when you're getting bigger and you've got a bit more budget, you can start looking for freelancers who can help you. And this is where you need to start working smartly to design and think about, well, which role do I need to hire first? Within the Bloom Circle, I will help you understand who to hire first. And it is personal to everybody's journey and, of course, your own strengths. But then, as I say, you're growing, you're a bit bigger, you can hire freelancers around you until you grow, and then you can start hiring some full-time team members. From there, you can really, really start building out a powerhouse team where everybody works to their strengths. And I feel very grateful that that's what we've got today in Petals at Bibendum. We're consistently building our brand and working towards what we all want to work towards. And I feel great joy in doing what I do every day. And I really feel it's down to this one thing. Everybody in the team works towards their strengths. Now, there is a lot more to go into here, talking about training individual people that will be doing things to help you, talking about setting expectations correctly and holding people accountable correctly, and then finally setting up standard operating practices that will allow you to scale that model quickly as well. I won't go into all of that today. We've already gone into a lot of value here, but if you've made it this far, I really appreciate your time and I hope this gives you some food for thought. I built the Bloom Circle for florists exactly like you, ambitious, talented, and ready to build something that actually lasts. It's a mentorship space, a system sharing vault, and a space for like-minded florists all to get together. And it's where really this kind of work continues with added support as well. If this all resonated with you, and you're ready to take the next step, I'd love to invite you to join the waitlist for the Bloom Circle. The link is below in the description. Or if you're on Instagram and you just want to chat first, head to my most recent post and comment the word grow, and I will send you a link personally to join the waitlist.